Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Remenkov. Today is 2nd of June, 2023, and I'm continuing my series, Daily Reality with Alex. I was willing for some time to express myself regarding a very interesting topic. And as a ruling reality coach, I'm constantly implementing a lot of complex, a lot of different things constantly into my own personal reality. And I would like to share how it is possible, everything to be practical, and how are we actually able to work with the concepts of reality, to understand reality and how to implement it in our personal daily reality, because this is what is important for all of us. For us, the only thing that is important is what happens with us. This is the primary. And of course, after this, we can develop the care principle, we can develop the compassion principle, and become more interactive into collaboration and helping others. But first, we need to know what is happening with ourselves. And today's topic I would like to discuss and how I'm implementing it in my own personal reality is the paradox that reality is actually for exploration purposes. I know a lot of us have asked ourselves the question, Alex, why we don't have the instructions? Why we don't know the most basic things, where we are coming from, where are we going to go, and what is the purpose? Why are we constantly struggling with these explorational processes that you are speaking about? We are much more willing to know exactly what is required from us, and we just want to follow the instructions. The interesting thing is that most of us, if what we are willing to happen in our reality, if it actually applies, it is going to destroy us. Because if we say, well, I just want to follow the instructions, I just want to know everything, I just want to understand every concept, every way my mind is working, I just want to explode into knowledge, I just want to be in a perfect state where I know everything, all my moves are 100% right and aligned, then immediately what is going to happen with us as human beings is we are going to be turned into robots, because there is not going to be any more necessity of us to exist. And this is what is interesting about reality, is that if we are in a situation where we understand that we are here to explore for a reason and for a purpose, we are born into this existence without knowing. The first 7 years of our experience, we are constantly looking around, mimicking and copying how the other things are coping with the not knowing. Then we go into the educational system, which is trying to form us into knowing. And with everything that we were able to conceive about reality, since it's very complex, we are achieving so little that if we stick to our comfortness and comfortableness of knowing, then we are constantly, by purpose, limiting ourselves. If we are able to move out of this urge and desire for knowledge and just go beyond into exploration, then things are becoming much more different about reality, because then everything is going to be very interesting. Once we wake up and we don't want to know, then the only thing that we can do is to start exploring. What are the children doing, and why we are to have a mindset like a child? Why I'm constantly doing intentionally only one thing: to delearn myself from knowing, to be able to experience this reality without requiring to know. but to constantly explore, because what is knowledge? Knowledge is I have one dot over here, then I have one dot over here, and I start guessing what are the different possibilities, and I'm always trying with my mind, with my perception, within my ability to find the optimum way between point A and point B. And then we have the practical wisdom, we have the understanding, we're just exchanging with each other different ideas about how to come from point A to point B. Instead of asking constantly open questions. Why do we have point A? Why do we have point B? What is exactly happening in this reality? Are we exploring the things? Are we exploring the processes? Are we just in an accumulation game of having? And is it at all possible to own something into this reality? And once we understand as human beings, first, we don't know. Second, it's not possible to know why we are here. Then the only thing we can do is to seek, to explore. And the more we seek, the more we explore, the more questions we are going to have. Actually, now at almost 50 years old person, I'm having so much more childish questions, and I have them with such deep awareness and understanding that I don't know. And maybe my lifespan here in this planet is not going to be enough in order even to know a small dot. So this is how I'm constantly moving into explorational processes in all areas of my life. I will give you now some examples. My children, once I realized that I don't want to know, I just want to learn and to be able to think and to be able to see what is happening behind the scene, behind the visible of the five senses, perceptual reality, and then exploration and seeking became very interesting game for me. Once I realized that no one can give us the answers, once I realized that we are not to outsource to someone else, to some other organization to do the things for us, the fundamental questions that we don't have answers to. For example, what is happening with the earth, what is happening with history, what is the geography, what is the biochemistry, what is the human body, where are we coming from, and all the philosophical and existential questions. And once I realized that no one is going to answer specifically and up to the point to any one of these questions, I just started and continue seeking. And I'm implementing this principle in every area of my life. Immediately when someone gives me an answer, for me, an answer to anything is just a limitation. So I take this limitation of answer and I start to discover it and to see, well, there is so much more that I want to explore it. When someone tells me a statement, immediately this statement starts to limit me. When we're starting to absorb knowledge in specific area, it doesn't matter if it's highly educational, if it's university knowledge, whatever is the knowledge, it doesn't matter if it's in the engineering field, if it's going to limit us only in the electromagnetism, or it doesn't matter of the scientific, engineering, humanitarian, or whatever is the matter of the knowledge that we are using, all time and all the knowledge, all the schematics, all the ways we are structuring our brains to understand the reality through this knowledge principle, we are to know that these are only tools that are helping us to actually explore in reality. Once we realize that actually nothing is yet discovered, then game becomes much more interesting. Once we realize that humanity has not answered to even a single question with all the knowledge we are thinking that we have acquired through our path of civilization or multiplication of knowledge, and still today we have the same unanswered questions as when we came into existence, and that's why there are so many conspiracy theories. That's why there is so much unknowing, and also that's why there is so much dogmatics. We have two options: or to hide into dogmatic realm where we say, well, science is right, I'm going to trust science, and that's why we go into beliefs with our belief in science, with our belief in specific religion, for example, and especially the way the religion is extracting reality for us. All these are models, and all these are maps, and all these are concepts that are to enable us and to allow us to start exploring what is the unknown. And how are we to interact with the unknown? Once we start not being afraid from the unknown, once we start to interact and to be comfortable of not knowing, only then real exploration starts, because we are programmed and conditioned to always make decisions that are well established into knowledge. If now, as a business person, I make a decision based on intuition and not on base knowledge, then we can say, well, Alex, you are not a good businessman, you are not a good business person, because you don't take into account the economical situation, you don't into account other different metrics that are very important, and all of us, all the humanity is working its decision-making according to these metrics. But if we go only in this way of thinking, then what's the difference between us trying to be artificial intelligence and just trying to work with intelligence of creating dots without understanding the meaning and the purpose of what is happening? That's why I prefer to go into deep dive of the unknown exploration. Once we open our eyes and understand that everything is there for us to explore on a daily basis, and it doesn't matter how many dogmatic structures we have, how many science we have, how much ready knowledge we already have, we are to use it only to the extent to look at this specific map of knowledge, of understanding, and to start asking more questions about exploration further down the road. And this is how I'm constantly doing it in my own personal reality, and this is how I'm teaching my children to move into this explorational process. And I'm never for the steady and dogmatic and stable knowledge. Well, there are fundamentals in reality. All of us can feel them, that there are structures that are not changeable. And all of us are just fighting and trying to have ownership or to patent them or to have IPs on different processes that are available for all of us, or different concepts. But still, all these ways, all these approaches, all these type of shortcuts to entering the non-explainable, the non-seen, the impossible to grasp, It's up to us to decide if we are going to limit ourselves or just we are going to tap into the unknown, 100% unprepared, but with open minds to explore. And at least this is how I'm doing it. And of course, for disclaimer purposes, I became a Christian when I was 17 years old. And from this moment forward, when I realized that there is something more into this reality than just what the human beings think there is, instead of becoming dogmatic Christian, instead of going into safe haven of saying, now I know everything and now I have the answers of all the questions, I immediately start asking new open questions. What is the reasons for a higher being to exist above the human beings? What is the reasons for we as human beings to pray to a higher power? Why have we been made dependent on the reality in which we are? Why do we have needs? And so on and so on. And what are the probabilities and the possibilities for the future of humanity? And of course, a lot of people don't want to go into non-specifics. We just want to stay in the realm of the distinguishing. We want to stay in the realm of the accurate. We want just to be on the safe places of knowing. But when we go into the realm of the unknown and the undefined, it's up to us to start not only exploring, but to start rewiring everything that we have already conceived as conception about how everything is working in reality. So I'm more and more interested in deconstructing all my knowledge, in the ability to take any type of knowledge that have come into my perception, to look at it, to observe it, and to see, well, to what extent this type of tools, this type of maps are helping me to orient myself in the unknown. Because what is happening on a daily reality, we are constantly dealing with the unknown. We are constantly dealing with not having all the data. Of course, from economical perspective and from the wishful thinking of the mankind, if we had all the knowledge, if we have all the processes that are happening simultaneously, and if we had such a strongly powerful computers and algorithms, then we are going to rule our world, because we are going to know everything. And this is true, but we are just going to know everything that just happened. But we will never know everything that is going to happen 1 second from now. And because reality is so complex, because of the billions of individualized consciousness on different hierarchical levels and communication and interaction in the structure of the vivid reality experience, it is not possible for any of the individualized consciousness to control or to know or to understand or to grasp everything. I was listening lately to one podcast where the person was saying that he doesn't like the idea of believing in a limitational type of gods. And he was just having a strong point that he don't believe in Jesus just because he don't know the end days and when is the end finality of humanity going to happen. And since he don't know everything, he is just admitting that with not knowing everything, he is not God. Because if there is a God, if the human being is any way claiming that it has the probability and ability to become God, it means that we need to know everything all the time, past, present, and future simultaneously. If we don't go into these states, it's impossible to identify this specific individualized consciousness, personality as a God, for example. So in this way, we are to realize that since it's not possible to know everything that is going to happen, and then we're saying, okay, this is in the realms of the not known, and it is possible the not known to be managed only by beings we are labeling them as gods, beings that are beyond our reality, that are the only ones that are able to govern not only the known, not only the physical matter universe, reality, cosmos, but are able also to govern and to work and to deal with the unknown, with the potential, with the probabilities to such an extent that they are quite comfortable with anything to happen any moment, simultaneously, everywhere. And when we go into this type of thinking, then it's very easy to start exploring reality and to see how much the fixations in reality, how much the limitations in reality, and how much everything that is happening around us, instead of going after it into its limitations and to start limiting ourselves, we are to have an escape mechanism where we are able to observe from the perspective of the unknown, from the perspective of the unlimited potentials and probabilities about everything, and only then we are able to enjoy the fixed. We are able to know that everything we are doing in this reality is just exploring. And only in this type of mindset it is possible not to take reality as a prison. Because I'm constantly saying that we are limitless potential and probability inside of us, put into the limitations of this vehicle we call a body, experiencing through it all the type of distinguishes and limitations of reality, but only for one purpose: to start exploring the unknown, to start exploring the impossible, and to start understanding what is beyond forms, what is beyond the visible, and to start understanding the absolute and the purity of the essence. Because we are constantly connected to the essence, but we need the physical matter limitations of the reality concreteness in order to use it as a map, in order to be able to look at the undistinguishable, to be able to work with what is beyond. And basically, this is the purpose of why we are here, and this is the purpose why it's not necessary to know in order to exist, why it's not necessary to know in order to make decisions. And I understand that this is the most uncomfortable thing for an intelligible being, to tell him, don't go into ignorance, don't go into the spooky intuitional type of existence, because then we are going to go back into civilizational, destructional mechanisms where actually the elites are saying us, if you go into a delearning processes, we are not able to control you. Because control is possible in the physical matter reality only to following of all the essences of all the limitless probabilities of limitations, of distinguishings, and of concrete dogmatic knowledges that are possible to move us and to lead us into any direction they desire. That's why, paradoxically, if you have looked and if you have watched the movie Real Player One, it's a movie, sci-fi movie, where the idea is that the game is always losing if you are going under the rules that are already established. When you go onto the start, you always move forward. But Real Player One realized that instead of going forward as everyone else, what is going to happen if I move backward? If I move towards total failure, if I move towards not knowledge acquiring as everyone else, but look backwards towards delearning, backwards towards stating that we don't know, we don't need to know. The only thing we are to do is to explore with tools and means that are beyond the intellect, that are beyond, because if we stay in the realm of the intellect, the artificial intelligence is always going to beat us, especially in the future. It's not possible to create, it's not possible to enter the realm of the probabilities where the artificial intelligence cannot enter. And it is a realm beyond knowledge. It is a realm where we don't need dots to connect, where there are no dots, where everything is in state of quantum waves and everything can become whatever type of distinguish we acquire and require. And that's why it's very important to work with our inner selves and to know that we are a powerhouse of collapsive distinguishings in this quantum realm of possibilities and probabilities. And it is very important to realize and to understand the potential of the power that is inside of our brain and not to use it the way we are required from the system, from the ones that are leading us towards more knowledge, towards more directional obedience to what already is, but instead to go backwards into 100% opposition, into acquiring and into exploring. That's why I really enjoy the explorational way of looking into reality in every way of thinking. And it is very interesting because since in the realm of distinguishings, nothing can be perfection or purity or absolute, and it will always have flaws. So every type of knowledge is for us just a door from where we can enter the unknown, a door of concreteness through which we can start downloading so much more. And the beautiful thing about the unknown and the beyond is that it is 100% totally connected to such an extent that the brain can never acquire and rewire to its potential, because the purpose of the intellect part of the brain is to follow the distinguishes and the realm of the forms, just to the extent that we are able to move out of it through these doors and through these portals into the unknown, and to the undistinguished. And then it's very important what we are doing, because then the only thing we can rely upon is only our essence, only our intuition. And that's why it's important to learn and to go into interaction with everything in the physical matter reality, in order, when we go out of here through the portals into the unknown and into the unseen and into the limitless potentials, to know what to do, because there is no one else, there is no knowledge, there are no crutches, there are not personal development mindset thinking. Thinking is not working there. Essence is working only there. And that's why, by exploring and daily willing to understand more about why reality is created the way it is from the creator, and by striving and urging myself to know the personality of the being that have been creating everything, it is helping me to be comfortable in exploring the potential of what is beyond. And it is very interesting, because in the beyond, all the realms of forms, all the realms of knowledge, everything that we are used to work with in the physical matter reality is not able to be used out there. And this is why I enjoy the physical matter reality. I have positioned myself as a ruling reality coach in order to be able to see beings that are knowing how to rule their own reality. And you can go into my webpage, alexanderremenkov.com, and you can see the different type of programs that I'm offering. And long-term, what I'm interested in is the way we are ruling our reality and the way we are to exist into this thing the humans are describing as life, as the energetical chi or prana power. But the problem is that 99% of us are using them in the wrong field. Like Ready Player One, we are always looking in the same direction, while reality is urging us to go beyond the visible and start understanding the reasons why everything is the way it is. So thank you for watching. I know that everything I'm expressing is very deep. It's not so easy to go into concreteness, but everything can become very practical by paradoxically not following any type of step 1, step 2, step 3 instructions, but by witnessing our intuition and our essence to take hold and charge of everything that we are doing in reality. So thank you for watching. Enjoy your reality and be an explorer of everything that is out there for all of us to explore. Bye-bye.